Hey everyone, this is Christopher Brower here with Daily Motor, and today we're driving the 2022 Hyundai Kona Electric. Now, if you live in Michigan like me, this is not a car that you've probably ever seen because it is not sold in Michigan. This is a car that's only sold in 12 states right now, the states that are sort of regulating more electric car sort things. I don't know all of the details on why that is, but anyways, you can't actually get one of these in Michigan, so we're actually kind of fortunate to be driving it today. Not a lot of Michigan people get to experience this car, so how cool is that? Hyundai is calling this an SUV, and the Kona itself has actually been out for quite some time now in an internal combustion engine form. And now, of course, we have the Kona N coming out as well. So there's a lot of different configurations you can get with this car. Hyundai calls it an SUV, but really, is it? I mean, it doesn't really look like an SUV to me. It doesn't really sit very high up. The cladding is body color, so that makes it just kind of look like a normal hatchback. And Hyundai does compare this to the Nissan Leaf, Mini Cooper Electric, and the Chevy Bolt, none of which claim to be SUVs. So anyways, you know, that's just kind of the vibe with this car. Decent amount of boot space here. We've got a little cargo net, some styrofoam trays, and then we've got all of our charging cables and stuff underneath here in a nice little case. Put that back there. No power assist for the hatch, but it's a pretty light hatch, so no problem there. I apologize for the wind today. It's quite windy out. Back seat space. My knees are kind of in my chest. This is adjusted for my driving position. I'm 5'11", and I don't really have much room back here, if I'm being honest. But nevertheless, the overall quality of the interior is not too bad, and I would actually have more room back here if there was just a shorter person driving. But that's really no excuse for this. But yeah, I'm pretty limited on rear legroom here. As far as amenities back here, we've got some cup holders. We've got a USB port right here, but that's about it. We've got some cubbies. Yeah, we've got leather seats in here. We've got some other materials that are not really the nicest. We'll get more into that once we're up front. So let's skip to the driver's seat here so I can have some leg room back. All right, so once we're up front, we can see that we do at least have a leather wrapped steering wheel, but that sort of goes along with our leather seats here. The dashboard, that's where it starts to get a little bit questionable. The materials are really just not the best, and this is a $45,000 car. So you've got to think, is this really acceptable for, you know, that amount of money? Where if you think about other cars in this price range that just have overall nicer materials on the inside. I don't hate the layout of the interior. I think everything's nice. I like the screen. Here, let's go ahead and turn the car on. Got our nice little Hyundai greeting. I like cars that play a little song when you start them up. I like the screen. We do have wireless Apple CarPlay standard. I do have my phone plugged in here though. Shifters down here with the parking brake, drive modes, heated seat controls, climate control panel is right here, though when you do mess with the climate control, it does come up on the screen, though I like that we do have some physical controls here to control the climate control. And though the materials aren't really the best, it is still a very light and airy, open feeling cabin. We've got a good amount of headroom. We've got a light colored headliner. Not the biggest fan, but it helps everything feel a little bit more breath of fresh air in here. Seats, we have some cool little blue stitching here on the seats, and then this nice perforation through the middle, because of course we have cooled seats in this car. So pretty cool stuff. Other than that though, this interior is pretty simple. We've got a Harman Kardon sound system in here. Stay tuned if you want a more in-depth look at the Harman Kardon system, because Charlie will be doing a full in-depth review of that, as well as a range test and a comparison to his Tesla Model Y. So lots of good content coming on the Kona. So make sure to stay tuned for all of that. All right, well, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and take this thing out on the road, because that's where it really shines, is in the driving experience. There's our little push button shifter here. You can hear the car makes a noise. I'm gonna show you what noise it makes in reverse too. I'm gonna crack the window here so you can hear it. I hope you can hear that. It's actually quite a pleasant sound. Of course, we have our reversing camera here as well that turns with the steering wheel, so that's pretty cool. All right, let's go back into drive here. Speaking of noises, the car does make a constant noise while you drive. I think it's just to kind of warn civilians so you don't run them over. It's not a super noticeable sound, especially if you've got the radio on. I really don't see it being irritating or even for the driver. Like I said, I think it's really just to warn of your presence. So this Kona EV has 201 horsepower and 291 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs about 3,800 pounds, so it's a pretty quick car. You have to remember with electric cars, you have that 201 horsepower and that 291 foot-pounds of torque instantaneously and all the time. So though those don't really sound like big numbers, especially for this so-called SUV, this thing feels properly quick. And that's what I love about electric cars, is you can get so much out of so little. And I love that about the Nissan Leaf. It was a hoot to drive, and this car is the exact same. Although I think this has even less grip than the Nissan Leaf. This car has no grip at all. So we're gonna pull out of here. I've got traction on, keep that in mind, okay? And there's 55. I mean, this thing really gets up and goes. It really struggles for traction on these little eco tires, and it's just hopeless if you turn traction off. And we'll turn that off for when we go around the next corner. This thing's an absolute riot. I love electric cars that are front wheel drive because with your instant power and instant torque, they're just so much fun. They remind me a lot of hot hatchbacks that just like don't have any grip. Okay, so this is with traction off. I guess it didn't spin that bad. It's just so much fun. It gives these cars some character, which is what I feel like a lot of people were so afraid of with electric cars, that we were going to lose all of our driving fun, but we do have quite a bit of fun. Similar in this car to the Mazda MX-30, the paddle shifters are used for our regen braking. Woo! Okay, let's turn traction back on. So the left paddle is used if you want more regenerative. I always struggle with that word. I should really just say regen. The left paddle is used if you want more regen braking, and the right paddle is used if you want less. And you can see that's displayed on the right hand side of our digital cluster here. So as you can see, as I let off, I've got no regen, 1 regen, 2 regen, 3 regens. And actually, if you're coming to a complete stop, you can hold the left paddle and it will bring the car to a complete stop within reason. You know, you can't just hold it. I guess maybe it would bring me to a stop from speed, but I've only used it when sort of coasting to a stop, because if you don't hold the paddle, the car will not come to a complete stop. Yeah, quite a bit of noise from these tires, but it's all part of the fun. That was the whole fun factor of the first generation Toyota 86 Scion FRS Subaru BRZ, is that they had no grip, so they were fun to just kind of sling around. Same case with the electric Kona here. I was really not expecting this car to be as fun as it is. I was expecting a little bit of fun just coming from, you know, the Nissan Leaf, and seeing as this is a similar car. But this is quite a bit of fun. It's very playful, and it's quite nimble as well. You can really toss it into corners, and it doesn't mind at all. As far as ride goes, that's good as well. Really smooth ride, actually. That's where I don't really quite get why they call this an SUV. I think it's so they can sell more, because people read SUV and they're like, oh yes, that is exactly what I want. Even though this car could totally pass for just a hatchback, because it doesn't really appear to be an SUV, it doesn't drive like an SUV. I think our sort of elevated roofline might be kind of what sells it as an SUV. But I honestly think Ford could have said to all of their customers, yes, the Focus is an SUV. The Focus hatchback, that's an SUV. And people would have just continued to buy it. And they wouldn't have had to make the EcoSport, which is an abomination. But anyways, enough of my rant. This car is actually quite good to drive. And if it is indeed an SUV, it is one of the more fun ones that I have driven. It's just We don't have, so one thing I have noticed is we don't have quite as much torque steer as you got in the Nissan Leaf. I don't know if that's due to like sort of the differential tuning or whatever they've done with this car, but the Nissan Leaf had tons of torque steer. This car's got a little bit of torque steer. We're definitely not immune from the torque steer in this car, but it's not quite as severe as the Leaf. Now, merging on to the highway here, I don't suspect we'll be able to take this at speeds really above 55 with how crappy these tires are. Well, not crappy in, you know, their eco ways, because that is, of course, their intended purpose is to be eco, but they're not set up for handling. We're going to let these people get a little bit of a lead here so we can see what this thing will actually do. I'm going to guess 55. You can feel traction control cutting in there. Oh, that's a lot. Oh, we're understeering. There we go. 54 is the limit. Yeah, okay. Well, there we go. I was pretty close with my prediction there. 55 was the limit. That was a little bit frightening, actually, but I think that this car, I really cannot wait to drive the Kona N, and Charlie has driven that. If you want to see a quick little sneak peek, a little first drive on the Kona N, Charlie has done that, so be sure to check that out if you're curious. I can't wait to drive that car. Being that this is a Hyundai, we do, of course, have our steering assist as well as our radar-guided cruise control, and being that it's a Hyundai, it works better than pretty much any other system. There we go. And it will steer for me. Hyundais usually can go a little while without yelling at you as well. See how long it'll let me go. Still has not yelled at me. Alright, well, I'm going to have to take over now because we're turning right. Alright, well, it didn't yell at me that whole time. That is excellent. Go ahead and turn this off here. We've got our maximum regen on. It's so funny how you can hole shot this thing out of corners at like 30 miles an hour and it still manages to spin the wheels. It's hilarious. Steering feel overall is also very good. I feel, yeah, it's the car is very predictable in what you want it to do. All right, let's see if I can make this stop with just the paddle here. I'm going to demonstrate. Yes, okay. So this is me holding the left paddle, and as you can see, it'll bring you to a complete stop. And then sometimes if you're on an incline, it'll do this thing where it rolls back like a manual car, but then it'll catch itself and it'll apply the brakes. But it kind of scared me the first time it did that. So I guess now is probably a good time to discuss price. The base Kona EV Limited, which is what this car is with the leather and everything, starts at about $42,000, and I think that this one is standard, but just with sort of shipping and destination and everything, this car comes out to be just about 44. I know I said 45 earlier. I was wrong. It's 44. And in fact, it's a hair under 44. It's like 43.9. But you have to keep in mind that you get the $7,500 tax credit. So if you take that into consideration, you're quite a bit under 30,000. In fact, you're right around 37 grand or less, like 36.5. And this car has a 260 mile range. So if you're comparing it to other cars, it does fit in right about there. The Mustang Mach-E is right around 260 as well. And so are quite a bit of cars that are, I mean, really just EVs. They're all kind of around the 250 to 300 mile range. So this fits into there just fine. You've just got to think, do I want to spend $36,000 on a car with really no rear leg room? And they call this an SUV. It's really not. It's a hatchback. So the range is great. The simplicity of having an EV, I mean, depending on your lifestyle, I mean, you know if an EV is for you or not. If you're someone that does a lot of driving, it's definitely not going to be for you. But this car is quite a bit of fun. I think just in its normal form, it would not be this fun to drive. I think if it were me, it would be this or the N, and I haven't driven the N yet, so I'm excited to drive that. I think it's cool how many different forms you can get this car in. Though it is a shame you can only buy it in 12 states. And Michigan is not one of those states, so you can't actually buy this car here, which is a bummer. And it would be a hassle to like go somewhere else and purchase it. But if you're that committed to the EV lifestyle, then I guess you could do it. Sometimes I find myself not having enough time on this test route. I didn't even show off the drive modes. This one's a little bit silly. This is sport mode, and it just gives you a little bit quicker throttle response, and it defaults you to the maximum regen setting. I don't really like the look of the gauges in sport mode, which kind of deters me from using it. I like having sport mode, but I don't like looking at silly carbon fiber gauges. I don't really think they fit the vibe of this car. Though that is just the style across the board with Hyundai. You always get those. Eco mode looks, actually, it's the most visually pleasing, as funny as that is. I like how the gauges look in eco mode, and then normal mode is just kind of our white face gauges there that we have in all of our normal Hyundais. All right, and as far as the infotainment goes, it's normal Hyundai, which means it's good. Hello? I guess you can't adjust that while you're braking. Yeah, this is all just standard Hyundai. If you're familiar with Hyundai's infotainment, it's pretty good. Hyundai's infotainment is nice in the way that it just reacts very quickly. Everything's sort of where you'd assume it would be. And you have this cool home screen here too that's just like kind of a nice chill background with your map on the right. These look awesome if you've ever been inside of a Genesis. I love the Genesis sort of chill screen. It's very, very nice. Easily get back to our Apple CarPlay there. And you can turn those beeps off too if you don't like the beeps. All right, well, I think that's going to conclude our drive today of the Kona EV. Quite a surprisingly fun car to drive. It's crazy how so many of us, myself included, had such a negative outlook on electric cars, 3, 4, 5 years ago when sort of all the hype was spawning for electric cars and Tesla was making their appearances and the Nissan Leaf and whatever else was happening. I hated the idea of electric cars, and now that I've gotten behind the wheel of a good amount of them, they're quite a bit of fun. Of course, they're not as fun as, your Focus RS, Civic Type R type of hot hatchback, but they're their own type of fun, and I'm glad that they're still quite a bit of fun to drive. So let's take one more look around this thing. I did want to show you guys the charging port because it's in a little bit of an odd location over here on the front of the car. It's here, and then you've got to remove this as well to do your charging. You can't just say open butthole like a Tesla and expect that to open for you. But yeah, the Kona EV. Well, thanks everyone so much for watching. I had quite a bit of fun driving this thing today. Make sure to stay tuned for Charlie's other videos on this car if you want to know more info on this Kona EV, if you live in a state where you can actually purchase the car. All right, well, again, thanks so much for watching, and as always, this has been Christopher Brower with Daily Motor. As always, again, did I say as always already? As always, drive on.